What if I told you that some of the coolest classic cars in America aren't sitting in fancy auctions or dealer showrooms? They're sitting in backyards, gravel lots, and driveways right now, listed on Facebook Marketplace for the price of a used economy car. Today we're counting down 10 real classic cars you can actually buy today. Some run and drive, some need a little love, and one of them has a mileage number that will make you do a double take. Stick around, because number 1 might be the best deal on this whole list. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, 1978 Chrysler LeBaron Coupe. Kicking off our countdown at number 10, we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a 1978 Chrysler LeBaron Coupe 2-door, and the asking price is $4,000. This is one of those cars you just don't see anymore, and this one is finished in a sharp black over a brown interior that really suits the late 70s personal luxury coupe look. According to the listing, it's been driven 43,661 miles, it's got an automatic transmission, it runs on gasoline, and the seller notes it's had 3 or more owners over the years. The good news? This vehicle is paid off, so there's a clean path to ownership. Now let's talk about what's under the hood, because the seller is very upfront about it. This Chrysler is powered by the 225 Slant 6 engine, and the seller says the AC and heat both work. That's a big deal on a car this age. The seller also says this car runs and starts every time you turn the key, and describes it as a very dependable car, mentioning they've driven it from Oklahoma City to Tulsa with no problem. That kind of honest, real-world testimony is exactly what you want to hear on a 40-something-year-old car. It's black, it's clean, it's a Slant 6 that just refuses to quit, the bulletproof engine that Chrysler built its reputation on. For $4,000, this could be the easiest entry into classic car ownership on our entire list. But if a dependable cruiser isn't quite exciting enough for you, wait until you see what's waiting at number 9, because this next one wears one of the most legendary nameplates Mercury ever built. Number 9, 1967 Mercury Cougar Coupe. At number 9, we're heading to Lake City, Michigan, for a 1967 Mercury Cougar Coupe 2-door, and the seller is asking $8,500. Now this is a car with real presence, a first-year Cougar finished in gray over a black interior, sitting out in the grass looking every bit the muscle-era icon. The listing says it's been driven 34,000 miles, it's got an automatic transmission, it runs on gasoline, and here's the part buyers love. It carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems reported. The vehicle is also paid off. What makes this listing so charming is the seller's honesty. The seller says the 1967 Mercury Cougar is up for sale because, and I'm quoting here, "I'm old and lazy and want to work on a different project." You've got to appreciate that kind of candor. But they don't stop there. The seller also tells us the turn signals failed, and that they put a new switch in it, and it worked for 2 days, then quit again. They say it could be something else in the system, so there's your honest disclosure, a small electrical gremlin to chase down, but nothing that stops this Cougar from being a stunning, first-generation classic. And remember, the 67 Cougar shares a lot of its DNA with the Mustang of the same era, but with a longer wheelbase and that upscale Mercury styling that makes it feel a little more special. 34,000 miles, clean title, gray on black, for $8,500, that's a lot of classic for the money. But hold on tight, because number 8 is an American legend, a fiberglass icon, and it's wearing all black. Number 8, 1976 Chevrolet Corvette. Rolling into number 8, we're in Springfield, Virginia, with a 1976 Chevrolet Corvette, and the asking price is $8,500. This is the C3 Corvette, the shark body generation, finished in black over black, and it's got that aggressive stance sitting right there on the street. The listing states it's been driven 67,000 miles, it has an automatic transmission, runs on gasoline, and it's had 2 owners. Best of all, it carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems, and the vehicle is paid off. Now here's where the seller really builds confidence. The seller says the 1976 Corvette has 67,000 miles, the engine is strong, the transmission was rebuilt 3 years ago, and the whole brake system was redone 3 years ago as well. That's exactly the kind of maintenance history you want to hear on a classic Corvette, because those are the two systems that can cost you real money down the road, and this seller says they've already been handled. A black-on-black C3 Corvette is one of the most recognizable shapes in all of American car culture. Those pop-up headlights, the long sweeping hood, that fastback rear. It's a poster car that a whole generation grew up dreaming about. And with the engine strong and both the transmission and brakes freshly sorted, this isn't a project sitting on blocks. This is a driver. Number 7, 1964 Chevrolet Nova. At number 7, we travel to Olive Branch, Mississippi, for a 1964 Chevrolet Nova, and the seller wants $5,750. This is a four-door Nova finished in black, and it's clearly a project that someone has been enjoying. The listing shows it's been driven 22,120 miles, it has an automatic transmission, and interestingly the fuel type is listed as Flex. It's had 3 or more owners, it's paid off, and it carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems. Now the seller's description gives us the real story here. The seller says it's a 64 Chevy Nova 2, 4-door, and it has the original inline 6-cylinder engine paired with a turbo 350 transmission. They say it runs and drives. There's a nice personal touch too. The seller mentions they're posting this for their father-in-law named Durrell, and they ask that interested buyers please call him for information. That family connection tells you this car has been cared for and it's being sold by real people, not a flipper. A 64 Nova with the original inline 6 and a proven turbo 350 automatic behind it is a fantastic starting point. The early Novas are compact, lightweight, and endlessly customizable. They're a favorite in the hot rod world precisely because of how much you can do with them. Number 6, 1977 Chevrolet Corvette Coupe. Coming in at number 6, we head to Gosport, Indiana, for a 1977 Chevrolet Corvette Coupe 2-door, priced at $6,000, but there's a catch, because this listing is marked as pending. So if you want it, you'd better hope the current deal falls through. This C3 Corvette is finished in white over a beige interior, and the listing tells us it's been driven 60,000 miles, it has a manual transmission, it runs on gasoline, and it carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems. And that manual transmission is a big deal. A stick-shift Corvette is exactly what the enthusiasts want. The seller lays it all out clearly. They say it's a 1977 Chevy Corvette with the L48 engine, T-tops, a 4-speed, and it's set up with factory air. They mention it has a new clutch, decent tires, its matching numbers, and it runs and drives. The seller is honest, adding that it needs a little love but could be driven home. They also state the price is $6,000 firm, no trades, that the car does not leave until the funds are settled, and that they have the clean title in hand. That's a straight shooter right there. A matching numbers, 4-speed C3 Corvette with T-tops and factory air for $6,000 is a genuinely exciting proposition, the kind of car that appreciates while you enjoy it. Number 5. 1972 Ford Maverick. Halfway through our countdown at number 5, we land in Spring, Texas, with a 1972 Ford Maverick, and the asking price is $7,900. This is a fantastic-looking Maverick painted in bright yellow with a black hood stripe, sitting out in a grassy lot, and it's got a real muscle car on a budget attitude to it. The listing says it has an automatic transmission, it carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems, and then there's the mileage. According to the listing, this Maverick has been driven just 1,000 miles. Now, on a 1972 car, that almost certainly means it's a rebuilt or restored odometer figure rather than original miles from new, but it does suggest very little use since whatever work was done. The seller keeps the description short and sweet, simply saying it runs good. Sometimes that's all you need. The Ford Maverick is one of the most underrated compacts of the era, lightweight, simple, and a genuine sleeper when you build one right. In that bright yellow with the racing stripe, this one already looks the part. These cars have been climbing in popularity as people rediscover them as an affordable alternative to the more expensive Mustangs and Novas, and clean examples are getting harder to find. Number 4. 1977 Chevrolet Monte Carlo LT Coupe. At number 4, we're out in Los Baños, California, for a 1977 Chevrolet Monte Carlo LT Coupe two-door, and the seller is asking $6,000. This is a beautiful white Monte Carlo with a red interior, and that white-on-red combination gives it that classic California cruiser look, sitting there in the driveway with palm trees in the background. The listing says it's been driven 1,234 miles. It has an automatic transmission, and it's finished in white with that striking red interior. Now the seller's description gives us the full rundown. They say they're just testing the water on this one, and it's a 77 Monte Carlo. They tell us the front and rear brakes are new, there's a new rear spring, and the radiator is new as well. Those are exactly the kinds of refresh items that make a car more enjoyable to own right away. Very importantly, the seller says the car has not been lowered or put on hydraulics, and they describe it as a good project car. That's a big selling point for a lot of buyers. It means this Monte Carlo is a clean, unmodified canvas. Whether you want to keep it stock, build a classic lowrider, or go a completely different direction, it hasn't been cut up or altered. The Monte Carlo LT was Chevy's stylish personal luxury coupe, and this generation has a huge following in the custom scene. White paint, red interior, fresh brakes, spring, and radiator, and it's a clean starting point. $6,000 is a fair ask. But number 3 swaps luxury coupes for full-size land yacht comfort, and it says it's still wearing its original paint. Number 3, 1970 Buick LeSabre Custom Sedan. We're into the top 3 now, and at number 3 we head to Elizabethtown, Kentucky, for a 1970 Buick LeSabre Custom Sedan 4-door, priced at $5,950. This is a genuine full-size American land yacht, finished in a handsome tan, sitting on a gravel lot against a backdrop of open country and cornfields. The listing tells us it's been driven 58,480 miles, it has an automatic transmission, it runs on gasoline, and it carries a clean title with no significant damage or problems. On top of that, the vehicle is paid off, so ownership is straightforward. The seller's description is brief but says something that classic car buyers love to hear. They confirm it's a 1970 Buick LeSabre Custom Sedan, and they say it has the original paint and interior. Original paint and interior on a car that's over 50 years old is a big deal. It means this Buick is largely unmolested, a true survivor that hasn't been repainted or reupholstered. That originality is getting rarer every single year, and for a lot of collectors, an honest survivor is worth far more than a car that's been redone. The 1970 LeSabre is a big, comfortable, smooth-riding cruiser from the golden era of full-size Detroit luxury, the kind of car that glides down the highway and turns heads at every stoplight. At just under 58,500 miles with original paint and interior and a clean title, this tan Buick is a lot of survivor-grade classic for under $6,000. But number 2 is a green machine loaded with power features and a long list of brand new parts. Number 2, 1978 Ford Thunderbird. Almost at the top of our list, number 2 takes us to Chesapeake, Virginia, for a 1978 Ford Thunderbird, and the seller is asking $6,950. This is a gorgeous green Thunderbird with a matching green interior and a white roof, sitting on a gravel lot, and it has that big, bold, unmistakable late 70s Thunderbird presence. The listing shows it's been driven 107,000 miles, it has an automatic transmission, and it runs on gasoline. Now the seller's description is where this one really earns its spot, because the list of features and new parts is genuinely impressive. The seller says it has 8C, an AM/FM radio, power steering, power brakes, power seats, power windows, and power locks. That's a fully loaded personal luxury coupe right there. Under the hood, they tell us it's a 351 V8. And then comes the list of new parts. The seller says it has a new battery, new tires, a new gas tank, and new dual exhaust. They say it was just serviced, the interior is in great shape, and the paint is in good shape. Best of all, the seller says it runs and drives great, and they have the title in hand. When a seller lays out a list of brand new parts and services like that, it tells you the car has been genuinely looked after and sorted, not just parked and forgotten. A loaded, freshly serviced Thunderbird with a 351 V8 and the title in hand, for just under $7,000 is a whole lot of luxury cruiser for the money. But we've saved something special for number 1, because this last car wears a legendary name badge, but it's hiding a secret. Number 1, 1979 Ford Mustang Dark Horse Coupe. And here we are at number 1, in Royal City, Washington, with a listing titled 1979 Ford Mustang Dark Horse Coupe 2-door, priced at $5,000. Now, the moment you look at the photos, you realize this listing has a fascinating twist, because while the title says Mustang Dark Horse, this is actually a burgundy Ford Fairmont wagon,